I'm Richard Ryan and I'm 21 years old and I drive the Signature Stitch, the Peterkin Engineering Pro and SMC and Morris Best Price Hardware car. I don't know, from I was at tender age, I was going, my daddy used to carry me to car races and I used to live, as a matter of fact, I used to live like 3 blocks down from Kuta. And I know that car from it was a shell, right? And as a baby growing up, I was a child when that car came around, about maybe 2 or 3 years old, somewhere there. And you know, watching him, you know, I think, and my dad carried me to Dover and all these other places. I think all that combined created a passion for me loving this sport. Well, the most rewarding aspect of racing is the joy. You know, the joy is a priceless. The adrenaline, you know, everything that it's unexplainable. You know, it has always been something I love, and you know, it's. I don't know, from I know myself I love cars. I've never known myself without loving cars, you know? So, yeah. The most challenging aspect of the racing part is the finance. It takes a lot of hard work, dedication, time, you know, and a lot of money, you know, that's the main factor, you know. Without money, it's, you know, it's not possible, and that's why I have to give God thanks for the sponsors that came on board for my 2023 season. So I've been racing I acquired my car in 2022. I acquired the car and we went to the show. We went to our first drift. That was the first local drift event. That was the event directly after Red Bull, and that's when I entered my first drift competition, where, you know, I came out first in my class. You know, that really meant a lot to me, despite all the challenges I had. You know. But, you know, big thanks to all who supported me on my first event. Then we moved on to where, you know, we have to big up the promoter of Slip Winwit. You know, he has put drifting on the map for sure, and he has created events for us to participate in. So the next one I went to was of new season was Farm Corner, right? It was a very challenging track, I must say. The car was underpowered for that track, but I did my best. And, you know, and then after that, I went to a Slip Winwit at Falmouth. That's the first sanctioned event, and where I acquired another trophy. By the way, I've never went to an event and left without a trophy, never. You know, so for the Scots had 4 events for the event 2023, and I managed to acquire 2 first place and 2 second place, which allowed me to win the championship of the rookie class of Scots Auto. And then, but one of the biggest achievements for 2023 was Red Bull Car Park Drift. That, I don't know, that even though I'm still in shock sometimes when I reflect, you know, I have to just, you know, just thank God every time I reflect on, but I'm like, you know, that was like midway in the year of my drifting career, you know, and I was like, boy, you know, I've always won. Last year, the previous year, I was like, the trophy looked good, you know, it's real bossy, you know. And I said, boy, if I could just collect one of these trophies, I don't care if it's first, second, or third, I just wanted one of these trophies, you know. So I came with the determination that I wanted a trophy. Honestly, I had doubts. I never knew I would have left with one. You know, I have to give God thanks for that. So, you know, that's why I put it in the center of the car. You know, that one means a lot to me, in all honesty. And the next most big achievement for me would have been the rookie championship. That really meant a lot to me. That has topped off my year. I couldn't have asked for a better year in terms of my drifting career. You know, and also I have to give a few special shout outs. You know, without a mechanic without a car is not a car. You know, it's an old car, so you know it's going to be, you know, need a lot of work. I have to big up Andre. But the Red Bull Car Park Drift Series, I remember, as I said, one of the biggest challenges is finance. And I remember the Thursday, like I knew from I knew from about a week before, and I realized that the car was spitting out oil, and I was like, why no, you know, why no? Because, you know, Red Bull is like less than a week away. And I called Andre, I said, Andre, you know, like one of the pistons crack or something like that, you know, because it's spitting out oil through the, you know, in the catch can and stuff. So I was like, boy, you think you go make it through Red Bull? And he must say, yeah, it would be best for me to rebuild it quickly. When I really calculated what it would have taken, whatever, I was hesitant, you know, because trust me, you know, this car took a lot of money from me, in all honesty, and, you know, I think twice every time I'm going to spend money on it because it doesn't have a conscience, in all honesty, you know. So I was there, and up until the Wednesday of, you know, we're at Wednesday now, you know, and Red Bull is a Saturday. Up until Wednesday, I still contemplating if I should rebuild the engine. I decided, you know what, I'm not taking any chance. And I said, I called Andre, I said, Andre, you think we're rebuilding? And the man said, anything you say. He's very supportive. And, you know, in all honesty, I bought some piston, bought some rings, you know, freshen it up. And I said, all right. And I want to tell you, before Friday, the engine was out. By Thursday evening, rebuild, and all he did, when I came back to the garage at Friday evening, the car was starting already. We just drove it to Negril, I think, and around back to his garage in Shetterwood, and to break in the engine. And I said, boy, this is it. In all honesty, when I came to Red Bull, you know, included the practice runs and the official run, it was a total of 6 runs, and I never pulled the bonnet once. I was that confident in his work. You know, I never even checked the oil. When I went home, I was like, you know, I was happy, you know, and I went home, I was like, all right, I'm gonna check the oil. Oil is okay, everything is okay, you know. So big shout out to Andre. I don't know where my career would have been if he did not, you know, came along. Another person is my father. Numerous times, you know, he's the owner of Signature Stitch, where he does screen printing and embroidery. And in all honesty, I don't know, he's like my parents overall, but you know, because it's a car, my father and I have a special bond, you know. He was the one who really brought me into this thing. And you know, you know, he's like my backbone in racing. I've never been to an event, a sanctioned competition event, without my dad. You know, as a matter of fact, one day he had work and he was saying that he thought he could come. And honestly, I never even want to drive again. I don't know what it's like to go to an event without my father. You know, despite the car, you know, and it's like he's also my personal mechanic. Even at junction, the last junction where I managed to take home the rookie champion and first place overall for my class, you know, we had a problem on the engine block where the freeze plug, you know, like the previous owner, maybe, I don't know if it got corroded and it started spraying water through the block. No, Andre was working on his car last minute, trying to prepare everybody else's car, you know, so he left his car for last. So he was like at the tuner trying to sort out his car. So I was like, boy, what am I gonna do now, you know? Because the freeze plug needs to change, you know, and you know, I need to go to junction. And here was Daddy, you know, he's no professional mechanic, but he can definitely help himself. And we take off the intake because we couldn't reach it without taking off the intake. So we took off the intake totally, and you know, we did what we had to do to make it to December junction of 2023. Well, when I'm on the start line and I hear the man go 1, 2, 3, you see, you're not 1, 2, 3 and driving up the start line. I don't know what rev per minute my heart is at now, but I can tell it's going quite fast, you right? And the minute the green flag comes off my windshield, I forget everything, meaning that all nervousness is gone, I come to drive now. Well, racing, I have learned a lot through racing, and most of all, I think it has brought to me a lot of spiritual growth. Why? There's a lot of times that, you know, I come up on a crossroad where, you know, due to finance, I was like, you know, how am I gonna make this? How am I gonna do that? You know, and, you know, within the same time frame or in the same week, I would get a phone call and say, you know, I remember, as a matter of fact, when I rebuilt the engine for the Red Bull, you know, I was, you know, the finance was a bit rough and whatever, and ironically somebody called me and said, "You're going to Red Bull?" As a matter of fact, he was the previous owner for this car, and he said, "You're going to Red Bull?" I said, "Yes, man." And him say, "Car all right?" I say, "It's going to be all right," you know? And he said, "I want to buy you 2 tires." No, he has a sponsor. He's not But it's just to me that was like a God sent thing, because I was like, yes, two tires, it fills a gap, and I was grateful for it. And numerous times where I stumble, even right now I'm having a gearbox issue, and made a few phone calls and couldn't find a gearbox. Somebody called me. I went and I picked up one yesterday. At a great cost. So I think a good deal, and I just have to give God thanks. So most of all, it has built me spiritually, right? And it has taught me how to remain humble. While winning, it comes with excitement, and with excitement come with what you would say, with excitement come with like free speech. You express, you just talk how you feel, and so. I try my very best to remain humble at all times, because, humility, I know it goes a far way, and I've never seen anyone reap a reward for not being humble. So I try my very best to remain humble, and, most of all, pray. I have never, when I was right here at the start line at Red Bull, I've never done a run. I'm not saying never, I don't recall ever doing a run in a competition. And I leave off the line and don't pray. I don't recall doing that. If it's the last thing I do, I don't know who is observant or whatever, but when the car is in front of me and I'm about to start, I lean my head back on the seat, and I close my eyes and I whisper a quick prayer. Ask him to do what his will, because sometimes our ways are not his ways, right? So I ask him to do his will. If it's his will for me to come out on top, that will be the result, and just do my best, and whatever the result is, I'll work with it. Advice I would give to somebody who wants to start racing is, I would say finish with school first. I would say I got the car somewhat of, I don't know, in my university, I went to Caribbean Maritime University, and while being there, there's no way I could have managed work, school, and a racing career, It was I tried, I attempt, and mommy was like, daddy was like, you're in the last year of university, just wait it out. So I would say, finish school, because it can drain you financially. And I would also say, make sure that you're financially stable before you take it up. I did not wait on that. And there are consequences and there are also reward. I haven't regretted anything thus far, because I have reaped nothing but success and progress during that. And I have to just give God thanks. I have to put him at the forefront of everything I do and give God thanks for everything. The most important thing I've learned about myself within my drifting career would have been, I realized I'm very persistent. I don't give up easily. I'm sorry. When I come there to put up a fight, and I don't express it. I have it within myself. I don't. As a matter of fact, when I come to events, I don't talk much, because it throws me off. I will go to a corner, watch other persons drive, and try to grasp what they're doing, try to see who's perfect in the course, and try to mimic what they are doing. And so I realize that I'm very persistent, and if it means that I'm going to use my last to make my car ready for the event, I realize I'll do it. I'm not saying it's the best thing to do financially, but I'm very determined, and I was on a journey, and I had a vision, and I achieved exactly what I wanted. I never anticipated being a runner-up for Red Bull Car Park Drift 2023, but I did anticipate being a rookie champion for 2023. I just want to big up all the drivers that was in the rookie class: Mark, Nathan, Brandon Wright. He's my main competitor. When he goes on the track, despite he's like my little brother, I watching him, because that guy, when he put his head to something, because even at the last junction he was leading, and unfortunately he had a mishap in the 720, and that's he managed to came second in the rookie champion overall. Mark, he wasn't here for a while and popped up back out of the blue, and trust me, I have to be watching him too. I remember at the second format where Nathan came fourth, I was like, when I saw him making it to top 4, I was like, no sir. After, he was an eye opener for me also, So I just want to, I don't know who else I'm forgetting, but the rookie class was very competitive. I would say it was even more competitive than the pro class. You know, where I remember at one Falmouth where, you know, there was like 3 runoffs with Brandon and Mark, and you know, it was, I've never seen that in a pro class. You know, I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I've never seen that. So I think that I have to big up Scott's Auto every time. He has implemented events and the series that went well. You know, he has given me a lot of exposure. Without him, I don't know where, without the events, I don't know where my career would have been, because without the competition, I have no events to participate in. You know, so it was a great series, I must say. Big up Scott's Auto every time. Well, my ultimate goal in racing would have been to dominate whatever I'm in. For the year 2024, I'm planning to broaden my horizon in terms of the genres of motorsport. You know, Mad March is now hosting, you know, rally series where he's trying to implement where he can facilitate street cars. I'm planning to take out the dirt. You know, I'm planning to participate in drag racing also. The car is not 100% stable for drag racing because, you know, it's high speed, and you know, it has a few structural work to get done. For example, seam well and caging and those stuff. You know, I wouldn't take the chance as is. However, so I plan to continue the drifting thing, and my aim is, by God's grace, to dominate as I'm moving up into pro class. You know, as I said, for the 2023 season, I've never went to an event, a sanctioned event, and left without a trophy. So that will be my aim for the 2024 season in pro class. All right, so but most of all, I have to, 2023, the journey has been long. It has been exciting. It has been rough patches here and there, and I just want to, you know, big up my family members, friends. You know, I have some friends that I've been going to high school from, like Garfield, Theo, numerous. I mean, I don't even want to start calling names because there's so much. You know, even from my university, you have other persons, JVN, and all the other people where, no matter where I'm at, they're going to find the event and support me to their fullest. And most of all, I have to thank my sponsors. My dad, Signature Stitch. He has, as I said, he's like my backbone of my drifting career in terms of support. You know, he's there for me emotionally. He's there for me. You know, he's the one that goes and start my car, make sure it warm up before the run. If it needs to move, you know, he moves it, you know, because, you know, it may block someone. Morris Best Price Hardware. Morris Best Price Hardware came on board in 2023 of February. I must say, at most events, you know, he's one of the most consistent sponsors I have, where at every event or a week before event, he would call me and say, Richard, car all right? I say, yeah. He said, what you need? And I would say, I need XYZ. I would say, all right, I'm gonna sort it out for you. And he tried his best to facilitate me to the best of his ability. You know, I have to big up Morris Best Price Hardware. Alex Performance. Alex Performance came on board in August of 2023, and he saw the vision. I spoke with him. He and I had a meeting, and we do have some plans for this year. You know, we're aiming to come back with more power for 2024, and you know, he is by observation, one of the best performance store in Montego Bay right now. You know, in terms of performance parts, I don't know what he does not have. You know, he have wideband, you know, exhaust for all different type of vehicle, turbo. I mean, it's endless. I can't list off everything. Another sponsor I have that I have to give a lot of thanks for is SMC Shipping. As you know, a lot of persons have complimented, you know, the handling of my vehicle, and it wouldn't have been possible without SMC Shipping. He was the one that, you know, he called and said, all right, what does the car need? I said, boy, the car needs suspension. We decided that I spoke to Andre. He said, all right, this one can work. The suspension on this is actually for Subaru, but as I said, Andre, the great mechanic he is, you know, he made it work, you know. So it has on Rev 9 coilovers for Subaru, and it had a design of a true rear coilover at the back, where the spring and the shock is on the same. It's not separate as it came. So SMC Shipping, you know, they have been there 100% from day one. He's actually one of my first sponsors. As I mentioned, my first sponsor is P-Tech Engineering Pro. Now that guy, you know, he is one of the best fabricators I know right now. I'm not saying there are other good guys out there, but I know for a fact that for his age, he, you know, I think he's like 24, and you know, for his work he has put in over the, you know, for the short period of time, I would say he has progressed a lot. And the wing, the flare, any welding, any fabrication that is needed, you know, he's the one that gets it done, you know. So we have some work to do for 2024. He also does roll cage. I'm trying my best to see how best I can do that this year. With that said, I'm looking forward for the 2024 season, and most of all, I have to big up Mad Vision Production for this coverage. You know, he has been in this business for the years, and I personally think that when it comes on to coverage of motorsport, especially for competition events such as Dover, drifting events, and all these other sanctioned events, he has had full coverage. When you go on YouTube and you go on Mad March page, you know, you'd have felt as if you don't miss a thing, you know. As a matter of fact, while I was in school, you know, while I couldn't make it to all the races, I would have looked forward to his notification to, you know, for the event that I missed, and trust me, I would have felt as if I was there. So big up Mad Vision Production every time. As I mentioned earlier, consistency would have been one of the greatest factors. The playground that I practiced on would have been the track built by Mr. Ian Wright, Farm Corner. You know, that was my practice ground. You know, if I felt in the evening after work where, you know, I felt the mood to drive the car, I'd have set up courses and you know, try my best to learn, you know, and teach myself as I went along. I do observe a lot from other drivers, I must say, especially drivers that have similar chassis, you know. So while being at Red Bull here, Red Bull Car Park Drift for 2023, I was very observant of Kuta Hype run, you know, because we have the same chassis, same length, everything. So I was like, you know, I would try to imitate what he has done. As a matter of fact, he has been a veteran in the thing for years, you know, from when I was a child, you know. So, you know, because of the similarity in chassis, I would have watched him and try to imitate what he does, you know, to complete the course, you know, and to score all points. You know, he has also guided me a lot in terms of, you know, he's a 1616 Speci, you know, big up Kuta Hype for the, you know, the guidance, and you know, he has given a lot of guidance in terms of what to do with the car and how to tune the suspension. I remember being at one show, he was telling me that, hey, you're watching the car and the front is dipping too much, you need to stiffen up the front suspension a bit. So, you know, he has guided me to his best of his ability. And also, you know, being observant would have been one of the best factors. You know, I observe a lot, I watch what people do, and, you know, try my best to see how best I am capable of doing it, you know. So what I really do is watch the top drivers and try to imitate it as best as possible, and whatever the outcome is, you know, I'll work with it. I am Richard Ryan and I'm 22 years old and I'm a professional drifter, and you're watching Mad Vision Production. Click here to subscribe and the bell for notification.